Hey there, guys. Music fan here once again. How you guys doing? We're going to go through a very short track review of Radiohead's recent album, A Moon-Shaped Pool. We're going to skip a track ahead into number two, though, because I already made a track review of Burn the Witch. So if you want to check that out, check the link in the description box below in the track listing that I'm going to provide. So with that said, let's head straight into the track Daydreaming. Yeah, this is one of those songs, as I've said in my review. Again, I'll leave a link in the description below towards that. As I've said in that review, that Daydreaming is a very just ominous, very sad, very mournful track. And as I've said in my previous review, this track is very influential, or influenced by, lyrically speaking at least, from Tom's recent separation from his wife of 23 to 25 years. And that informs not only the lyrical writing towards the song, but also informs the musical aspect towards this album. The very mournful, sorrow-filled, cascading pianos on this track, slightly ominous orchestration and violins in the background a little bit, and Tom York's just very emotionally broken vocal harmonies on this song is really intense. And even the song gets even more intense as it keeps heading into the end, into these very ominous sounding, unsettling backup vocals that appear near the end, which is a backwards thing going on, which is meant to say half of my life, which really goes on, spells out to the detail of what this track takes its inspiration from. Really, personally one of my favorite tracks off this album. Is so mournful and so sad, and yet that sadness brings a sense of intimacy from Tom York and the rest of the group into our ears. Anyway, Dex Dark. This song really kind of like gives way from like the very tense, sad nature of Daydreaming, and then into this particular track, which is very melodious. Is the one word I can describe Dex Dark, which is very melodious. It's full of melody, and yet it's a melody that is very downplayed. It's a melody that this is just only supports just the melody itself, with the rest of the band, the instrumentation here and there, which eventually gives way into this very slightly ominous tone to it, but not too ominous as the other two tracks were previously. And it kind of gives way to this, like this very picking of the guitar and a little bit of the drums here and there. And of course, Tom York's singing on here is just very ghostly, very haunting in this song. And yeah, all I have to say about that song. Desert Island Disc. This track, a little bit similar to Dex Dark, except it takes a little bit more of a folk approach to this particular song. Some of the songs off this whole album is very folky, and this track is no exception. It's definitely a quality towards this album that I really like. That is a very folk orientated album, although not overtly per se. What I enjoy about this track is Tom York's vocal melodies, his harmonies that he makes in this particular song. Just the way you know what I mean. I don't make a good job, but there you go. Yeah, I really enjoyed that part about this song, his vocal harmonies, the very lush orchestration towards this song. And yeah, that's Desert Island Disc. Also, probably with this and Dex Dark being one of few tracks off this album that is very more melodious and a little bit more blissful, I have to say. And yeah, moving on, we move into Ful Stop, which is a much more downcasted and much more darker affair in this particular album. And Ful Stop, is a very, has this very ominous drum beat that kind of starts off the song. This very drone beat that begins this song, and also I think it's Colin Greenwood's bass playing here that kind of creates this very ominous sounding tone, and Tom York coming in just very damaged and broken in his voice. You really messed up everything, as he sings the first line. And yeah, I mean, this whole ominous approach then kind of like diverts into this very jazzy quality with the rest of the band as it progresses, and Tom York's, his vocals becoming a little bit more, not fiercer, but a little bit more intense as the song goes along, which I really like. I really like that quality of this particular song. And from there we head into Glass Eyes, which is also one of the most sorrowful tracks off the album. Describes Tom York entering a train and seeing this group of people that are so faceless and so emotionless that it causes a bit of fright in him, and he doesn't know what to do. He could change the train or change his ticket or something. And yeah, it's full of very sad and mournful orchestration, again from Johnny Greenwood, I think. And yeah, lyrically it's very stark. Lyrically it's unsettling. Musically unsettling as well. And his vocal performance again here is top notch. His emotional performance with his voice is just so, I don't know, it matches the orchestration perfectly, the way he vocalizes his harmonies and his range. Not too loud, but not too quiet either. It's just right for this song. And yeah, I can't think of anything more to say with Glass Eyes. Identikit. This is one of those songs which is a little slightly more rock orientated here. Not Body Snatchers, not like that song, but it's a little more slightly rock orientated. Honestly, I do know that this is one of those tracks that is a very dated song, going back I think all the way into the 2000s or late 1990s, I believe. I don't have the information in my head, but it's one of those very old Radiohead songs that they've tried to record in previous albums but didn't get around it until this one. And for an old track, and I maybe it could be a fan favorite, I'm not exactly sure, but it's a song I like. I really like this song. What I really do like about this song is just Johnny Greenwood's just guitar pickings at near the end of this track. And of course there's still a haunting, ominous tone to this song. I think of Tom York's, again, haunting, very, very creepy sounding vocals on this on this song rather, on Identikit. And of course Phil Selway's drumming here is very jazzy, very jazz quality towards his drumming here. And yeah, it's a song I like. I like this song, Identikit. The Numbers, it's one of those tracks where lyrically it's a socially aware track. I've been hearing a lot of commentary saying that this song is a climate change song orientated track. And yeah, it's also almost as folksy as Desert Island Disc, except there's a little bit more of an intensity with this track. There's still no blast of rock music here, but there's still a very intense quality here, with the strings kind of being used, the orchestration being used to kind of push the song and make it more intense as it goes along. And Tom York, calling upon the people and saying that the government is a lie. And I don't know what I really give props to the band of being at least spreading some kind of message, an awareness of that climate change is an important issue that our politicians are not dealing enough with. I guess what I'm kind of missing from this song is a sense of forcefulness, maybe not necessarily rock, but I think I kind of wish there was a little bit more of a pointed direction in Tom York's message with this song. I kind of wish there was a bit more of that. Like, what is it against specifically? But granted, I assume that Tom York didn't have a point in mind, or a specific point in mind to make with this song. Maybe he wanted to write a more general song about climate change and let you guys take it as it will. I give props to that, though. I give props to that for making a song about climate change. And Present Tense is another favorite song of mine. I like it because it is a little bit more Latin flavored, which is something I don't really take much note of. There isn't too much of that going on in Radiohead's previous songs from their other albums. So I really took to this song a lot. Like the song has a bit of a, dun, 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 kind of quality to it, and it's very Hispanic Latin tinged kind of song toward this particular track, the music speaking. And lyrically it talks about distance, being can be a weapon, being as if a weapon in the sense of you can deprive the person who's offending you by denying them your presence, or using distance itself as kind of like a shield to kind of block yourself from that person, of whoever it is. It's a track I like. I really like this track. I really take this track very highly. Anyway, Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Sailor, Rich Man, Poor Man, blah, 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 blah. I can't say it. The title's a mouthful. I said in my review that this is my least favorite track. Slightly. What I do like about this song, by the way, it's those very propulsive beats, this very soft beat making that goes on in the beginning of this track, as well as very very stark and ominous sounding keyboards. I think they're keyboards that goes on in the beginning of this song, and of course Tom York's vocals here are pretty stellar as well. They kind of make these very peaks and valleys of high vocal harmonies in this track that I thought was pretty cool. But I kind of think also that this song is just a tad, a little bit indulgent, a little bit, but it's not enough for me to completely dislike it, but it's not enough for me that it catches my attention, or it leaves an impression on me. So I'd have to say that that's my least favorite track. And finally we head into True Love Waits. This has been a fan favorite from the Radiohead fans since the mid-90s, I think. I remember years ago, I think this was around Hail to the Thief, where I saw a performance of Tom performing this song with an acoustic guitar, and I remember really liking it. It was pretty cool to hear what seems to be a very love song towards this person, could be his wife. But with this version on A Moon-Shaped Pool, it's a lot more stark, it's a lot more ominous, and it's a lot more sad. Hearing this track for the first time since then has created kind of a very emotional feeling. I mean, you have these cascading pianos that are going around everywhere, very softly, very whimsically, and of course Tom York's vocal harmonies here are just so soft, and yet they're so emotionally evocative of just being left there in complete despair and sorrow, and just completely in the gutter kind of feeling, and just kind of yearning for this person to come back and to stay, but that is not coming. Or it could possibly mean happiness or the goodness of life itself. Please come back to me. On the surface it sounds like something romantic, but when you look into the lyrics more, at least the way that this song was turned around from what it was originally, you can tell it's a very sad song. Sometimes I get very, not choked up, but I get a little bit a little bit kind of sobby whenever I hear it, because it's such a soft sounding but very intense song by not being forcefully angry or intense. It's one of those tracks that really leaves you with no words, and there's no resolution to this. It's as if you're just given this feeling, and just take it and give it some thought. And yeah, those are my thoughts on each and every track off this album. Leave your comments below. Tell me what you think. What's your favorite song off this album? What's not your favorite song off this album? And leave a comment. This has been a track review. Radiohead, A Moon-Shaped Pool. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.